What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we got more new Digimon cards to talk about, haven't we? The Digimon news and reveals are coming thick and fast, and I'll be honest with you, right, I just like talking about new Digimon cards, so I'm cool with it. It's a lot to keep up with, but you know what? I'm still kind of cool with it. We also had a really cool green Digimon revealed yesterday, which we're going to pop in here. So we've got 2 blue option cards, 1 lovely green Digimon, and a very unusual translator. But we'll get there in a moment. So starting off with a blue option card, let's start off with one that I think is amazing. It is Drag Beneath the Water. Now, our translation for these blue option cards come from Ensan Gaming. And what we've got here is a 1-cost option card with a picture of Multimon going for a swim. Yep, I could not be more in on this card. And so it's nice and cheap. It's got Multimon. What does it do? Well, when you play it, during this turn, all of your Digimon gain. When you attack an opponent's Digimon that has no evolution sources, delete it. Now, as a security card, it adds it to your hand, which is a little bit rubbish, but it's a 1-cost card, so it's not like it's going to take much to play it next turn. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful card. Now, I am making an assumption here, and it's an assumption based largely on how these kind of things work in other games, but I feel pretty good about it. And essentially, what's going on here is there is no battle. You go to fight them. Oh no, wait, they've got new Digivolution sources, they're deleted, you survive. Now, obviously, if you do this with a Digimon with piercing, you then also get to perform a security check. Or do you? That's actually a really good question. Sorry, that wasn't for dramatic, I'm literally thinking as I'm recording here, but you're not actually deleting a Digimon in battle. Would piercing work? Top of my head, I'd say no, piercing probably wouldn't work, because you're not deleting a Digimon in battle. Huh. Interesting one. That's a question we'll have to come back to. But essentially here, you're playing that kind of blue deck that, well, it's a standard blue deck, where you are removing Digivolution sources and taking advantage of them. And if you're playing a deck that is good at removing Digivolution sources, this is awesome. Like, absolutely, genuinely, proper job, awesome. Because what you're really doing here is, it's not just removing Digivolution sources, right? That's lovely. But it's the fact that you're getting automatic and essentially free deletions without having to put your Digimon into harm's way, and that is a wonderful thing. And remember the other day I showed you that new Digitama Bukamon that's got an inheritable skill whereby when you attack, you trash the Digivolution source at the bottom of one of your opponent's level 4 or below Digimon. And then, of course, we combine that with the Gabumon and the Garurumon from the starter deck. Gabumon removes an evolution source from a level 5 or below, and Garurumon removes an evolution source from anyone. And now you are absolutely rolling here. Now again, there is a question here as to the timing, because you get to apply the skills in whichever order you like. So can you essentially attack a Digimon that's got 2 Digivolution sources, and then remove them using the cards I just mentioned, and then go, oh no, wait, they get deleted? Now, my assumption here is no. I believe what would essentially happen is you go to attack, they've got Digivolution sources, then you get rid of them. But you could certainly attack one Digimon, remove the Digivolution sources from another, and then attack that to get the automatic deletion. I think this is a ridiculous blue card, and I am all in favour. It's situational. It's only good if you can remove Digivolution sources, and you've got to be playing the kind of deck that does. But if you are, for one memory, this is a bit nuts. Full Moon Blaster, I am not as much of a fan of, unfortunately. What we've got is a 5-cost option card that does the same thing whether it comes out as a regular card or a security card. You choose one of your opponent's level 5 or below Digimon and return it to your opponent's hand. If, however, you have 8 or more cards in hand, then you send it to the bottom of the deck instead. So this is another one of those option cards which takes out Digimon, and I like it, but it only works for level 5s or below, and it costs 5 memory. So don't get me wrong, all of the level 6s and 7s, all of the big bad boys, they all are level 5s or below at some point, but it's not actually necessarily always going to be at the right time, and your opponent can just essentially digivolve through it and then be fine. And this worries me, because I don't know if this is always going to actually do what you want it to do. Cocytus Breath that came around in the starter deck, you've literally got a 7-cost card that will return any Digimon to its owner's hand, or one of your opponents, regardless of how much it actually costs. And this I like a lot more, because even though it's expensive, you've got that certainty. As for the putting it on the bottom of their deck, if it is a situation where they've got 8 cards in hand, yeah. But then, on the other hand, it's fine. But I just worry it's not going to work often enough. So it's largely going to put it in your opponent's hand. But it becomes a cheaper but far more situational version of Cocytus Breath. And I would just rather have Cocytus Breath. And I'm sorry, I know it's more expensive, but that's just the way I feel. Now, we also need to have a little bit of a chat here about a green Digimon that was revealed yesterday. We are talking about Lilamon, and the awesome thing here is our translation comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet. And if you watch my Pokemon videos on my other channel, TCG Radio, you will be very, very used to hearing that. Antoine's not done translations of Digimon cards before. I think we might be starting to take an effect. I was chatting to Antoine the other day and linked him to some Digimon card videos that I've made, so hopefully Antoine's coming over here. And to be clear, there is room to love Pokemon and Digimon. I love them both. But also having another lovely translator helping us out, that is a good thing. So what do we have here? We got a level 5 green Digimon. 8 cost to play normally is fine. 3 cost to Digivolve is standard, 7,000 power is fine, slightly more powerful and expensive than average, but nothing out of the ordinary. But what we've got here is that rare Digimon that has both an inheritable and a non-inheritable skill. The non-inheritable skill here is a Digiburst skill, whereby it's Digiburst 2, and you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So you discard 2 Digivolution sources from this Digimon to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It's green, right? Green does what green does, if that's not too obvious a statement to make. So yes, fine, you're suspending one of your opponent's Digimon, but yeah, that's what Digimon that are green tend to do. It is important to note that we've got some other cool stuff we can do here in terms of having suspended Digimon. Sunflowermon that we looked at the other day has got Digiburst 2 and it stops one of your opponent's Digimon becoming unsuspended. So essentially what you do is you use Digiburst on Lilamon to suspend them, and then you use Digiburst on Sunflowermon to make sure they don't get unsuspended during their next unsuspend phase. And I cannot be the only one that thinks that sounds a little bit mean, but also quite a bit fun. We do also have Puppetmon, who came around, actually was in Booster 1.0, it's been out in English for a little while now, which is cool, whereby when you play it normally as an 11 cost, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then none of your opponent's Digimon can unsuspend during their next unsuspend phase, which clearly is going to help a lot and is going to combo very nicely with it. And I love this because it essentially means that if you're playing that kind of green deck, the kind of green deck where you are regularly trying to suspend your opponent's Digimon and stop them unsuspending, etc., this is a card that just fits really nicely into that kind of deck. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I am all in favour of it. But there is an inheritable skill here as well, whereby when you are attacking with a Digimon that has Digivolved from Lilamon, if you have a Tamer in play, you suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And let's face it, it's more suspending. So now you Digiburst to suspend one, and then you evolve up and start attacking and suspend more. I should mention, as a level 5, you are going to have a maximum 3 Digivolution sources here. Level 2, level 3, level 4. So with it being Digiburst 2, you can only actually get a single use of this off. Although it is important to note that means you can have an inheritable skill that you save, and then 2 vanilla, cheaper to Digivolve Digimon that you use just to get yourself up to this stage, which sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. I like this. Yes, you've got to have a tamer in play, but anyone that's been playing green by now should have discovered how amazing Mimi Tachikawa is. This is the first Mimi Tachikawa that came out, the one that essentially gives you an extra breeding phase every turn, which is, I still contend, the best tamer we've seen so far. So you should have Mimi out or want Mimi out, and then when you've got Mimi out, that means that you just get to suspend a Digimon. It's not the cheapest level 5 we've got. We've seen plenty of cheaper level 5s or ones with Digisorption where you can rest or suspend one of your Digimon to Digivolve it for free. We've seen level 5s that are more powerful, etc. But having an inheritable skill that you're suspending one more Digimon every turn, I cannot be the only one that thinks this sounds awesome. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.